Okay, so we were saying that, well, the price is not changing. The price of the apple that we are selling in the market is the same, but because it is up in the tree, so it's difficult for us to pluck it or to pick it from the tree, right? So now we said we are not going to sell the last apple. We'll actually let it rot in the tree. We will not sell anything more than this point, right? Anything selling more than this point will actually reduce our profitability. You know why? Because per unit, every apple will start giving you a loss. Per unit, every apple will start giving you a loss. So where do you stop? When do you maximize your revenue? You maximize your revenue at the point you'll sell up to this level, right? You will stop at the point when the price, the revenue that you can get from selling one more apple is equal to the cost of selling one more apple, right? Which will not give you any profit, right? So this unit will not give you any profit, and selling any units more than this will actually give you a loss. So your profit will be maximum when you actually sell only 4 apples. Anything above than this point will be actually giving you a loss. Or we can say that profit will be maximized when marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost. What is marginal revenue? The revenue that we can have from one more unit. What is marginal cost? The cost that we are going to have from one more unit, right? And that's why I was choosing the variable cost. Normally, marginal cost will be your variable cost. Not in all situations, but yes, marginal cost will be your variable cost, right? Not in all situations, right? I mean, there can be a step increase in the cost as well. Let's say, for example, the cost of 1,000 unit is, let's say, $500, but the cost of 1,001 unit is, let's say, $2,000. A big increase. It can be a big increase, but yes, normally is going to be variable cost, right? So your profit will be maximized when the marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost. This is where you stop. Selling more than this unit will actually reduce your profitability. Right? Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? So now, if someone asks you how do you maximize your profit, the profit will be maximized up to the unit when the marginal unit is equal to the marginal cost. Selling anything less than this or selling anything more than this will not maximize your profit, right? Now, of course, when you're manufacturing, you will not be just manufacturing 5 units. I mean, there will be many units, but you need to know where to stop, right? Because you don't want to sell anything more than a certain point, right? There are other ways to understand it as well, right? I'll give you an example. Um, for example, we can talk about the law of diminishing return. For example, you see, like we have a graph, right? We have output on the y-axis and we have input in the x-axis, and the input is actually your number of laborers, right? So number of people who are working for you, right? So when you have 0 people working for you, there is 0 output. When you have 1 person working for you, the output is this much, right? When you have the second person working for you, the output, I mean, some synergy is created, and that's why the output is not just this much, it will be further higher, very high, right? So with one extra unit person, the productivity has increased, right? Let's say you have now one more person and further synergy is created. They are working in a team, and now the productivity has increased. But then there will be a point that the productivity will start reducing. So when the fourth person is here. So of course, like the productivity is increasing, but not that much. So let's say, for example, this much further increased, right? And then let's say, for example, when the fifth person is introduced, right? The productivity further reduced. I mean, increased, but not that much, right? When the seventh person is introduced, now they'll come in each other ways and the productivity will be reduced. Let's say it has reduced. So what does that mean? It means for this point, it will be somewhere in here. For the fifth, it will be somewhere in here. And for the sixth person, it has started reducing, right? So how many employees should you have? Maximum. This is the point where you stop. I mean, fifth person is still giving you some extra output. But if you add the sixth person, now it may be very difficult for them to work in the workplace, right? And the productivity started reducing, right? Everyone is just chatting with each other, right? Nobody is getting enough space and the productivity further reduced, right? So what should be the maximum number of labor over here? It should be 5. It should not be more than that, right? The profitability will further reduce after that. And this is what we call law of diminishing return, the law of diminishing return, right? So your return is reducing, and then it will start. It's not increasing that much, and then it starts reducing, right? Okay. So there is a point when the marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. At this point, your profit will be maximum, right? Now, what is the question? We said before, we want to find out the selling price and the quantity which will maximize our profit. The selling price and the quantity at which we will maximize the profit. So if you see this example, we just found the quantity first of all. What is the quantity? The number of units after which we will be, the profit will start reducing. So we have to find the quantity first. Once we find out the quantity, then at that quantity, we'll be looking for a suitable selling price, right? Now, how do you do it? Let's see this example in the question, right? Okay, now, the first thing that you have to remember, we said maximizing profitability, we have to equate the marginal revenue and the marginal cost, right? It's the equation. So marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. At this point, the profit will be maximum. But what is the equation? I mean, if you remember the demand equation, it was P is equal to A minus BQ, right? For the marginal revenue, the equation will be slightly different. The gradient B will be different. It will be marginal revenue is equal to A minus 2BQ, right? It will be further steeper. This angle will be further steeper. Marginal revenue is equal to 2BQ, right? Okay, now let's see the question and it will make more sense after that. Example number 2 on the same page, page number 30. A company is considering the price of a new product. We want to find out the price. What is the price? What should be the price? It has determined that variable cost of making an item is 24. Variable cost is your marginal cost in this example, like the cost of making one more unit, marginal cost. Market research has indicated the selling price were to be 60 per unit and the demand will be 1000. So if this is the price, the quantity will be this much, P1 and Q1. However, for every $10 increase in the selling price, the reduction will be 50 units. Now, if you want, you can actually choose like, you see the increase in the selling price, you can say that it will become 70, 60 plus 10, 70, and the demand will be 950. So you can choose like two of them and then you can find the price. But I think we can easily do it because it's given to us. 10 is the change in the price and 50 is the change in the quantity, right? So this will actually help us to find out the value of B, right? And for every 10 reduction, there will be increase in 50 units. So again, that's the change, right? Note that P is equal to A minus BX, that's actually, or BQ, right? That's the demand equation that we were mentioning, right? You can write Q also. And marginal revenues A is equal to, marginal revenue is equal to A minus 2BQ here, the one that I've given you. A is equal to minus M, marginal revenue is equal to A minus 2BQ, right? So it's the same equation, right? If you want, you can ignore this line. Okay, now this is more common in the exam, so make sure you understand it. Example 2 of this page, right? Page number 30, I believe. So we need a price which will maximize our profit. The price which will maximize our profit, right? Now, the first thing that we are going to do, step number 1, is the same like before. Find value of A and B. So we know that we have to find the value of A and we have to find the value of B. So B is equal to change in the price by change in the quantity. Change in the price, we said, is $10 and change in the quantity is 50 units. So what's the value of B? 10 by 50, which is 0.2. Then using the value of B, we are going to find the value of A. So we'll say P is equal to A minus BQ. Now, any set of price and quantity that you want to pick, right? In this question, we are just given one, so we can actually pick that up, right? P is equal to, well, P was 60, price was 60. We have to find the value of A, B is 0.2, and the quantity at this selling price, we said, was 1,000. So what's the value of A? Can you find the value of A for me, please? What's the value of A? So that will be 200. It will move to the other side of the equation and become 260. So the value of A is 260. Now again, if you want to try like other equation, like instead of 60, if you increase it by $10, it will become 70, and quantity, if you reduce it by 50, it will become 950. You should still get 260, right? So step number 1, find the value of A and B. Once you have the value of A and B, then in step number 2, equate marginal revenue and the marginal cost, right? Because remember, at this point we said your profit will be maximum. Equate marginal revenue and marginal cost and find quantity which will maximize profit. Find quantity at which it will maximize the profit. Now, marginal cost we said is the variable cost, which is 24, right? Marginal revenue we said is A minus 2BQ. We can write this like this. Marginal revenue is equal to A minus 2BQ is equal to the marginal cost, right? So we can say 260, which is A, we have just calculated that, is equal to 2 multiplied by B, which is 0.2 multiplied by quantity, and the marginal cost we said is 24. Now what is missing in this equation? Quantity. We can easily find out the quantity, which will maximize our profit. So let's do it. Let's do it in steps. So we'll do the multiplication first. 2 multiplied by 0.2 will give you 0.4. So we have to separate the quantities. So 260 will move to the other side of the equation. So this will become 0.4Q is equal to 24 minus 260, right? Now 24 minus 260 will give you minus 236. So minus 0.4Q will be minus 236, right? Minus minus will be cancelled out. So 236 divided by 0.4 will give you 590. So if we sell 590 units, it will maximize our profit, right? Step 2. So what did we do in step 1? We find the value of A and B. What did we do in step 2? Marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. You write the equation of the marginal revenue, and the marginal cost is your variable cost. You already have the value of A and B, so you can easily find out the quantity which will maximize your profit. Now you simply have to use this quantity and put it in the demand equation to find out the price, right? So step 3. Using 590 units, find the price which will maximize your profit, right? And this time it will be again demand equation. So P is equal to A minus BQ. So we have the quantity, which is 590. We know the B value is 0.2. We know that A is 260. So find out the price now. What is the price? What is the price? Always multiplication first. So 590 multiply by 0.2 will be 118. 216 minus 118 will give you 142. We will, or we can say, in order to maximize profit, our selling price should be $142, right? Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? Let me quickly recap everything, right? So that you can see the bigger picture, right? I'll zoom it out so that you can see the steps. Step number 1, you want to find the value of A and B. Once you have the value of A and B, you want to equate the marginal revenue and the marginal cost, because we said in order to maximize the profit, the marginal revenue should be equal to the marginal cost. That's what we discussed in the example of the tree, right? So we'll equate the marginal revenue and the marginal cost. Now, the formula for the marginal revenue is A minus 2BQ. That's the marginal revenue. And the marginal cost is actually your variable cost. So if you put the value of A that we have found in step 1, and then you put the value of B also in step 1, and the marginal cost, which is the variable cost, you can easily find out the quantity. Using this quantity, you can find out the selling price in the demand equation. So you have the quantity now, you already have the value of A and B, so you can find the value of P, the price. Is it clear? I'll give you a question, a similar question now, and you can follow these 3 steps and give me the answer, right? I'll give you the question. So let's write down a question, and then you have to give me the answer. So class question, right? ESCO sells 1,000 units at a price of $10 per unit and sells 1,500 units if the price is reduced to $8 per unit, right? What is the change in the price? $2. What is the change in the units? 500, right? Variable cost is $5 per unit, right? So that's the marginal cost, right? Required. Derive demand equation, which is your step number 1. Find optimal quantity. Now, optimal quantity is the quantity at which the profit will be maximum. Step number 2. And then find optimal price. So this is step number 3. The price at which your profit will be maximized. Now, I'm giving you some answers, right? And you have to try to get the same answer, right? So your answer for when you find out in A, it will be in step number 1, A will be $14. In step number 1, B will be 0.004. In step number 2, in the second requirement, the quantity will be 1125 units. And in step number 3, your answer should be the selling price. The optimal selling price should be $9.5 per unit, right? Now, if you know all the steps, right, you have all the answers, right? I'll give you 2 minutes. Try to give me the right answer, right? Not 2 minutes, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Think about it, 5 minutes, take your time, but give me the right answer. Okay, now you can actually see the answer. You can see the answer. It's already been shared. You first of all have to calculate the value of A and B using the demand equation. Then by equating the marginal revenue and the marginal cost, right? you're going to find out the value of Q, and then you have to find out the value of P, right? Now, the answer is actually shared in the WhatsApp group, right? Those of you who couldn't find it, you can actually try it at home once again, try to do the question above once again, and then try to do this question after that, right? So, with this, we are going to end our today's lecture. We are going to finish the chapter tomorrow, right? You guys have any question to ask? Do you have any question?